What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. This is Every Snap Counts. I'm your host, Zach. Today, we're turning our heads into the 2027 NFL draft class. This draft class has a lot of blue chip players in it, a lot more than the 2026 draft class. I would say really it's Jeremiah Love and Fernando Mendoza, Sonny Styles, maybe Caleb Downs, but this draft has a lot more blue chip players and a lot more premium positions. Starting with the quarterbacks, you got Sayin, you got Dante Moore, you got Arch Manning. I like Drew Mestamaker a lot. I think Jeremiah Smith is a generational receiver prospect. He's my number one overall player in this class 1 year out from today. I think there's some awesome edge players. I think Leonard Moore is an absolute stud. Without further ado, though, let's just get right into it. Cardinals with the first pick. I really like what the Cardinals did in the 2026 draft class. I think Jeremiah Love is just a can't-miss prospect. So I can't fault them for taking him at number 3, even though he has the most guaranteed money ever given out for a running back. He's just a difference maker. He's just one in a kind type of running back. They don't come around very often. He's going to change that offense from day one. He's better than any other running back they have on that roster. I really like Michael LaFleur as a coach. He comes from that Sean McVay coaching tree. I just think that makes a lot of sense for them. And I think in this draft class, picking number 1 overall, they go with their quarterback of the future in Arch Manning. Arch Manning's my early 101, my early quarterback one. I just think the tools, the traits with Arch Manning, you can't really compare him to anybody else. 6'4", 220. And what really projects him more than Dante Moore and these other quarterbacks is the athleticism that he possesses. He has the ability to take over the game with his legs and his rushing ability, along with his arm. I think he has the ability to be a pure dual threat quarterback in the NFL, and I don't think the Cardinals will pass up at that opportunity with the first overall pick. I think the Cardinals are looking for a franchise-altering quarterback player. They didn't really address quarterback in this 2026 draft class, and I think Arch would be that player for them. He has great size that you're looking for in the quarterback position. I think at last year, yes, he did start off bad last year against that Ohio State game. I think he progressed better as the season went on, and week 7 on after the Red River rivalry game, he was a different player, really. He was a different player from the midseason point. He ended the year awesome against Texas A&M, knocked him out of the SEC championship game, played a really good bowl game against Michigan, looked really good towards the end of the season. I think all the players they got in the transfer portal, we're going to help him out. They got Raleek Brown, the running back from ASU. I think he's a really good player. I think Hollywood Smothers, the running back from NC State, is a really good change of pace back, receiving threat. It's going to be a good 1-2 punch for them. They brought in Cam Coleman, the receiver from Auburn, to be a stud outside for them. They have Ryan Wingo, the 5-star from 2 years ago. I think he's a hell of a player too. I think Arch Manning right now projects to be the first overall pick next year if he keeps on this current trajectory that he's on right now. I think Sarkisian knows what type of player he has at Texas. I think Arch and Texas are going to be better as a whole team this upcoming year. And by this time next year, I think Arch will end up being the first overall pick in the NFL draft. He's just too good of a player, too good of traits to not bet on to be a stud. But right closely behind him, I do have Dante Moore, which I will have going to the Dolphins here at 2. I like what the Dolphins have been doing. I like their Jeff Hafley hire as their head coach and John Eric Sullivan GM hire. They brought them both in from Green Bay. I think those are two very smart people. I think Jeff Hafley always runs a good defense, dating back to that Boston College defensive head coach stint he had all the way until Green Bay last year when he was the defensive coordinator. I think Dante Moore has everything you're looking for in a franchise quarterback. He's got the size, he's got the arm, he's got good enough athleticism, and I think he really shined in bright spots last year in the biggest moments. In that Penn State whiteout game, I thought he was really clutch that whole game. He made big-time throws, and I think the Dolphins picking here at 2 would end up going with their franchise quarterback, even though it was hard for me not to give them Jeremiah Smith because he is that much of a generational receiver prospect. He is my number 1 overall player, but I do have Dante Moore going here 2 to the Jets. Teams just take their quarterbacks over any other position. It's just the most valuable position, so teams are always going to take their franchise quarterbacks first in the draft. They get paid the most, they're the most important, they're the face of the franchises. Which brings me to the Jets at 3rd overall. I really like what the Jets did in the 2026 draft class. I thought David Bailey was a good pick. I would have went with Arvell Reese personally, but I think David Bailey offers you that pass rush day one upside. He changes that defensive line day one. And who knows if Aaron Glenn's going to be coaching next year for the Jets. If they go 2-15, then he's probably out of town. Aaron Glenn knows that. It's probably why he went with David Bailey instead of Arvell Reese, because David Bailey from day one is going to be a better pass rusher compared to Arvell Reese is more of a project player. But I think the Jets have done really, really well in these past couple drafts. I like the Omar Cooper value at 30. I like Kenyon Sadiq at 16. He's a really good athlete. You can project him to be a pretty dynamic weapon at the next level. I think the past two drafts getting their tackles of the future with Olufushano 2 years ago at left tackle and then Armand Membu, top 10 last year. Membu had a hell of a rookie season. You have your two bookend tackles for the future. I think they're really just looking for their franchise quarterback, and my quarterback 3 early in this draft class is going to be Drew Mestemaker. I'm a big Drew Mestemaker fan. I think he has all the tools and intangibles you want in a franchise quarterback. He definitely has the size as well, coming in at 6'3", 211. I really just want to see how he makes that jump in competition. He was at North Texas last year. He transferred to Oklahoma State because his head coach, Eric Morris, got the Oklahoma State job. They brought over the running back, Caleb Hawkins. They brought over the receiver, Wyatt Young. They brought over other pieces from that North Texas team, rebuilt through the portal. I'm going to be higher than most on Oklahoma State this year, and I think Drew Mestemaker this time next year will be getting first-round buzz, first-round capital. I'm a big fan of his game, and I think the Jets wouldn't pass on the opportunity to take their franchise quarterback here at number 3 overall in the 2027 early mock draft. You turn on the highlights from Drew, and he jumps off the screen. I think he plays with good timing and accuracy. He's a guy who wants to get the ball out of his hands quickly, get the ball to his receivers, let him have those yak opportunities. I think he can play off structure well. He throws well in the move. I like Drew Mestemaker's game a lot, and I think he does project well to be a good NFL quarterback. Better than like a Julian Sayin per se, because I think he has more size and more upside in the body he has than a Julian Sayin. I think he has a higher ceiling than some of these other quarterbacks in the class besides an Arjun and Dante Moore. I think this is early looking. This is going to be a really good quarterback class. And I think we'll see a couple, 3, 4, 5 maybe quarterbacks go in the first round in 2027. Moving on to the Raiders at 4, I think this is a no-brainer, slam dunk pick for the Raiders here. This has got to be Jeremiah Smith. I think any other draft class, Jeremiah Smith would go higher than 4. He would have went 2nd overall, no doubt about it, to the Jets this past year, number 2 overall. He is really a generational receiver prospect. Elite size, 6'3", 223. The moment he stepped onto campus at Ohio State, he was the best receiver in the country. He was the best player maybe on Ohio State that won the Natty team. And he has done nothing but kept progressing throughout his college career. This guy's just a certified stud, man. They don't make him like Jeremiah Smith. He's the best receiver prospect I've seen since probably Julio, Megatron, maybe. Those two. I think he's better than Jamar Chase, better than Marvin Harrison, a fellow Ohio State receiver coming out of college. I think this would be a slam dunk home run pick for the Raiders. You got Fernando Mendoza with the first overall pick this past year in 2026. You signed Linderbaum in free agency. You have Brock Bowers from 2 years ago. I think this offense needs a outside weapon like Jeremiah Smith. Clint Kubiak, the new head coach coming over from Seattle, would love to add this type of player to his offense. Who wouldn't? This guy is just a freak of nature. Big, strong, fast, good route running, great hands. Everything you're looking for in a receiver, Jeremiah Smith possesses that. I truly think he is a generational receiver prospect coming out of college. Moving on to the Browns at 5, this is where I went with my 2nd overall player in the draft class behind Jeremiah Smith. This is where I go with Leonard Moore. I think Leonard Moore is an absolute stud cornerback prospect. Possesses elite size, 6'2", 200. He has long arms, good length. He has the ability to play press and off coverage. He has elite ball skills. I think he has fluid hips for a guy that size. He's just, ever since he got to Notre Dame, he has been a stud. Got thrust into the starting role as a true freshman. Didn't look back ever since. He was a freshman All-American 2 years ago. He was a unanimous All-American last year. I thought he got snubbed at the Jim Thorpe Award. Caleb Downs ended up getting it, rightfully so. He was a beast. But I think Leonard Moore has been the best defensive back in America for the past 2 years. I think he's a surefire top 10 NFL draft pick. I think he is one of the best corner prospects I've seen since maybe like that Sauce Gardner, Derek Stingley draft class. I think he's right up there with those guys on a talent perspective. Was only a 3-star coming out of high school too. Just progressed super well under Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame. He had opposing quarterbacks had a 45.1 passer rating when throwing against him in coverage. Go turn on the USC Notre Dame tape from this past year. Leonard Moore erased Mekhi Lemon completely from the game. It wasn't even close. Follow him around all over the field, slot, out wide. Just a complete eraser of number one receivers. Even you can go look online and Twitter, and you can look. Jeremiah Smith had a video. He said the best corner he's ever faced in college was Leonard Moore, and they went up against each other in the national championship, both as true freshmen. These guys are both absolute stud, once-in-a-decade type of players at their respective positions. And I think the Browns would snatch up Leonard Moore in a heartbeat here. This is a no-brainer pick for me. I think any other draft class, like Jeremiah Smith, would be a top 3 player, but top 3, top 2 player. But the fact that these quarterbacks are really good in this draft class is going to push them down a board just a little bit longer. So teams in this 4, 5, 6 range are going to get outstanding players. Moving on to the Titans at 6. This is where I go with my edge 1 in the class. This is going to be Dylan Stewart for me. I think Dylan Stewart is an absolute freakazoid. He comes in at 6'5", 245, 250. The moment he stepped onto campus at South Carolina, he was a day one difference maker. You just saw the traits. You knew he was going to be a first-round top 10 edge rusher from day one, from game one at South Carolina. I think he's like an alien type of build, type of player. Insane speed off the edge, insane bend. He has the ability, the strength to set the edge and be a good run defender. I am a huge fan of Dylan Stewart's game, and I think this makes a lot of sense to the Titans at 6. They decided to go with Carnell Tate at 4 overall instead of going with Arvell Reese in 2026 draft class. They're going to look to upgrade pass rush in 2027, especially under Robert Saleh. It's a big deal for Robert Saleh. He wants to have an attacking defense with good pass rush, a good middle linebacker in the middle. I think Dylan Stewart's an absolute stud edge rusher. And if he was in the 2026 draft class, if he was eligible, he would 100% been the 2nd overall pick over David Bailey, just like Leonard Moore, just like Jeremiah Smith. All these guys would have been over anybody who else went in the top 5 or 2nd overall. Dylan Stewart's an absolute freak. I love his game, and I think he projects super well to the next level. He's going to be a double-digit sack guy, no question to ask. He was a freshman All-American. He was an All-American last year. He is my early edge 1 in this draft class. Moving on to the Panthers at number 7. This is where I go with my cornerback 2 in the draft class. This is where I go with Ellis Robinson the 5th. I really like Ellis Robinson's game. He has good size, 6 foot 180. I think what really jumps off the screen with him is his ball skills, his instincts, his ability to play man and zone. He really impressed me this year with this year at Georgia. He didn't really play that much as a freshman. Got thrust into the starting role this past year. Played 14 games, 500 defensive snaps. He had 4 picks this past year. Passer rating is 64, targeted against him. Basically shut down that entire side of the field for Georgia this past year. Him and KJ Bolden, who is my safety 1, they were a great duo for Georgia this year. Kirby Smart, Georgia defensive player. These guys are always NFL players. They have NFL pedigree. Kirby always produces these NFL studs. I think Ellis Robinson's the next great one out of Georgia. I'm a big fan of his game. I think he has fluid hips. He's a really good athlete. He's able to mirror receivers really well. I think this is a no-brainer for the Panthers here, who could use an upgrade over Mike Jackson on the opposite corner side of J.C. Horn. I like what the Panthers did with Monroe Freeling this past year at left tackle. I think they double dip into the Georgia pipeline, and they go with another Georgia player in Ellis Robinson here. Moving on to the Giants at 8. This is where I go with their Dexter Lawrence replacement, my D-tackle 1 in the class. This is going to be David Stone for me. I'm a big fan of David Stone's game. Comes in at 6'3", 315. He has the ability to play as a 1 technique or 3 technique, as it says right here. I think he offers you great run stuffing ability from day one with really good pass rush upside from the defensive tackle position, which is hard to come by. I think he would have been D-tackle 1 if he was eligible in this draft class. I really like the D-tackles in this draft class. It's the I think the top three are definitely David Stone, Amari Washington, and Ahmad Moen. Those are my top three. I have them all going in the first round of this mock draft. And really, from the Giants' perspective, I think this is a great way to get your Dexter Lawrence replacement. You're able to trade Dexter Lawrence for the 10th pick in the draft. You got Francis Mauigoa with that pick. He's going to slide right into right guard for you, shore up that offensive line, protect Jackson Dart. You got Alvaro Reese with the 5th pick in the draft. I really like that pick. He offers you good flexibility to rush off the edge or be a stand-up linebacker. I think they're going to start him off at will. They brought in Tremaine Edmonds to play Mike. You have Abdul Carter, Kayvon Thibodeau, Brian Burns off the edge. Like, this is a really, really good defensive core who could use help on the interior now that Dexter Lawrence is gone. I think David Stone is that guy, and he has the ability to definitely be a first-round pick, top 15 player come this time next year. Moving on to the Falcons at number 9. This is going to be my offensive tackle 1 in the class. I'm going to go with Trevor Goosby here. I think Trevor Goosby is a very, very good left tackle prospect. I thought he was going to be offensive tackle 1 in the draft class this year. If he decides to go back to school. Excellent size and length, 6'7", 312, super long arms. Pretty sure it's like 35-inch arms or something like that. Prototypical left tackle, built in the lab left tackle type of guy. I think he's an absolute stud, and I think Kevin Stefanski, the new Falcons head coach, would love to get his hands on Trevor Goosby. Think about the Falcons' offensive line depth chart. You have Jake Matthews at left tackle, 34 years old, not going to play forever. Yes, he's been a Pro Bowl level player for them. He's getting up there. Caleb McGarry at right tackle just retired. Tackle is going to be a need for them come this time next year. I think they go with the number 1 overall tackle prospect, in my opinion, in Trevor Goosby. He has awesome length. I think he's the best pass protector in this class, him and Jordan Seaton both. He was very, very good for Texas last year. He has very good movement skills for a guy of that size and that stature. I think he would 100% will be a top 15, top 10 draft pick come this time next year. I think this is a great pick for the Falcons at 9. Moving on to the Saints at 9. This is where I go with my other top edge prospect. This is where I'm going to give them Colin Simmons. I think Colin Simmons and Dylan Stewart are definitely the top 2 edge rush prospects. I think they're neck and neck up there. Stewart is my 1, but I think Colin Simmons is right behind him. I just think Stewart offers you more from a run defense standpoint and an overall size aspect. I really like Colin Simmons a lot, though. He's a guy who had instant production right away as a freshman. He had 9 sacks right away as a true freshman. He had 10 sacks last year. I think he had 12 TFLs as a freshman, 15 last year. Just a guy who's an instant producer for that Texas defense. He's going to walk in right away to the Saints. He's going to be their best pass rusher. I think he's a stud. He's got really, really good first step, awesome bend around the corner. He's a pure speed rusher around the corner. I think he offers pass rush power as well. You can build into his frame a little bit. He's a really outstanding athlete. Him and Dylan Stewart are both outstanding athletes. I think they're both warranted a top 10 picks next year. I think they both would have been the 2nd overall pick over David Bailey, and they would have been better than Arvell Reese's prospects as well if they were in the 2026 draft class. This is just a product of the 2027 draft class being awesome. That a player like Colin Simmons is going to be able to fall to like a 10. I think that's his floor, though. Moving on to the Commanders at 11. This is where I go with my next best player on my board. I am going to give the Commanders their wide receiver 1 of the future, Cam Coleman. I'm a really, really big fan of Cam Coleman's game. 6'3", 201, great size for an outside X receiver. He has awesome catch radius, a good plus athlete for that size. He's a fluid mover. He has really strong hands at the point of attack. I think he's a willing blocker. I really like Cam Coleman a lot. The one knock about Cam Coleman is he hasn't really produced all that well, but I think that's more of a product of Jackson Arnold and Hugh Freeze having a terrible system at Auburn being a terrible football team the past 2 years. He now transfers over to Texas to go play under Coach Sark, under Arch Manning, team up with Trevor Goosby at left tackle. I think Texas is going to be a very, very good football team, and I think Cam Coleman is going to be a main reason why they are a playoff caliber team this year, and I would be shocked if they didn't make the playoffs, and I would be shocked if Cam Coleman was not a top 15, top 20 pick next year. He is my clearing away wide receiver 2 behind Jeremiah Smith. I think he is closer to Jeremiah Smith than he is to like Ryan Williams or Deuce Robinson or Mario Craver or Charlie Becker or Nick Marsh, any of those guys. I think he definitely belongs in the conversation to be a top 10 draft pick next year. And I think the Commanders would 100% love to scoop up a guy of this guy's talent and pair him with Jayden Daniels for the future, give him his wide receiver one for the next 5 to 10 years. This is a no-brainer pick for me for the Commanders here at 11. Moving on to the Jets at 12. We gave the Jets Drew Mestemaker earlier with the third pick. I'm going to go with their Sauce Gardner replacement. This is the Colts pick for the Sauce Gardner trade. I think this is going to be a draft riser in the next year. I'm going to go with Kelly Jones here. Massive, long guy, 6'4", 200. Was a former high school quarterback athlete type, a guy you just wanted to get the ball in his hands and let him cook a little bit. Kelly Jones is a fluid mover for a guy of his size. I think he has really fluid hips. I think he's good at mirroring receivers. He has good ball skills. When the quarterback throws a pass his way, it is most likely going to be a PBU because he has that length to him. He had 29% completion percentage of opposing quarterbacks when they threw at him this past year. I think he is definitely a first-round talented cornerback, and I think the Jets would love to scoop him up here and get their Sauce Gardner replacement. I like the D'Angelo Ponce pick in the second or third round in this past draft class. He's going to be your slot inside player because he's 5'8", 170. This is the exact opposite type of corner prospect from D'Angelo Ponce. This is a massive, long, lengthy guy, good enough speed, good enough athlete to get it done out there. I'm a big fan of this player and this team fit for the Jets. Moving on to number 13. This is where I have my next quarterback coming off the board. This is where I have Julian Sayin. Julian Sayin's kind of a polarizing player for draft Twitter and all the experts out there. I've seen some people have him as the number one overall player. I've had some people say he wasn't even a round one pick. I do like Julian Sayin. I just don't know how the NFL is going to view him. I think he's a little shorter than 6'1", to be honest with you. But one thing that's definitely sure about Julian Sayin is accuracy, ball placement, and control of the line of scrimmage in his offense. I think he is definitely, everything is there with Julian Sayin except his size, and then maybe the arm strength isn't like elite like it is with Arch or like Dante Moore level. I'm a fan of Julian Sayin, though. I think he has another great year. He's throwing to Jeremiah Smith, so I don't see how he doesn't have a great year. And I think if he keeps on this trajectory that he's on, he will play himself to be a first-round pick next year. And for the Steelers, per se, I think the Steelers would love to get their quarterback of the future. Who knows if Aaron Rodgers is going to play again this year? I think he probably will, but behind that you have Will Howard and Drew Aller. Not my favorite guys as prospects, not my favorite quarterbacks. I think if you have a chance to get a franchise quarterback like Julian Sayin here at 13, I think you do have to pull the trigger if you're Omar Khan and if you're Mike McCarthy over there in Pittsburgh. I think this would be a good fit. Does not turn the ball over ever, which is very important for a quarterback. You want to limit turnovers a lot. He takes care of the ball. He has good, accurate ball placement. Throws a very catchable ball. I like him a lot as a QB prospect. I just don't know how the NFL is going to view him come this time next year. Moving on to the Vikings at 14. This is where I have my first running back prospect. I'm going to go with Ahmad Hardy here. I think the Vikings have a really good roster. I like what they did with their draft. I like Jake Golday in the second round at linebacker. I like Caleb Banks at D-tackle. I think if he could stay healthy, Brian Flores is going to have a lovely time using him in the center of his defense, stopping the run, being that massive human being he is at the defensive tackle position. And I think the Vikings are going to look to upgrade their running back position come this time next year. You have Aaron Jones, old and not really that good anymore, expiring contract. Jordan Mason, expiring contract. You drafted Damon Claiborne in the 4th, 5th round this year. He's kind of a gadgety type of guy, not a 3-down type of back, which Ahmad Hardy is. He has really good size, 5'10", 206. And he was a force of nature last year, man. He was so good. He had 1,600 yards, 16 touchdowns. Transferred in from Louisiana Monroe, I want to say, from 2024. Did not miss a beat at Mizzou this year. He was an absolute beast for them. Played himself. I think he was the second best running back in the country behind Jeremiah Love. I think he would have been a first-round pick and a second running back taken above above Jadarian Price in the 2026 NFL draft. I'm a big fan of Ahmad Hardy's game. I think he has really good contact balance, good breakaway speed, reads and reacts to holes really quickly, has good burst through the line of scrimmage. I like Ahmad Hardy a lot, and I think this time next year he will definitely be a first-round draft pick. One other thing about Ahmad Hardy, go back and watch that Mississippi State game. I think he had 25 carries for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. Absolutely took over that game. Just a game-changer type of running back, which the Vikings desperately need. Moving on to the Bucks at 15. This is where I'm going to go with my defensive tackle 2 in the class. I'm going to go with Amari Washington here. I think Amari Washington is a very, very good football player. Very good size, 6'3", 330. Very good run stuffer from day one. Can offer you a little bit of pass rush as well. He's going to anchor the line of scrimmage really well in run defense. And when you look at the Bucs defensive depth chart, Vita Vea is on the last year of his deal and he's 32. I think this is your Vita Vea replacement for the future. I like Amari Washington. I think he can step into that role day one in the Todd Bowles defense and be a difference maker on the defensive line. I think this is a very good team fit and a very good player that's going to be a first-round talent. If he keeps up the trajectory of what he has done the past couple of years at Oregon, the Oregon defensive line is going to be very good again. I'm a big fan of Amari Washington's game, and I think this time next year he will be a first-round pick. Moving on to the Cowboys at 16. This is where I'm going to go with a cornerback out of Alabama, Zabian Brown. I really like Zabian Brown's game a lot. He comes in at 6'2", 192, prototypical boundary NFL cornerback size. He was a true freshman starter for Bama from day one, so he's going on his third year of starting for them. Was very good. He's had 2 picks and 3 picks the last couple of years. He had that 199-yard pick six this past year against Tennessee, which was an electric play. I like Zabian Brown's game a lot. I think he's a fluid mover, really good athlete. He can play man or zone for you. I think he can mirror routes really well. He's got verified 4.3 speed. And just one of those next up Bama cornerback guys, you know. Number 2 overall player in the state of California coming up. He's got ideal size for the position, like I said. I'm a big fan of Zabian Brown's game, and I think the Cowboys can definitely use an upgraded outside cornerback. You have Deron Bland, who's you have Trayvon Diggs. I don't even know if he's on the Cowboys anymore. He's not that good, even if he is. You drafted Chavon Ravel last year. Don't mind him. He's not that good, though, when it compares to Zabian Brown. I think Zabian Brown steps in as a day one starter at outside receiver for the Cowboys. I'm a big fan of his game, and I think this team fit is very good as well. Moving on to the Bears at 17. This is where I went with my next edge rusher off the board is going to be Mateo Uiagalelei. I like his game. I think he has very surprising bend and pass rush ability for a guy of his size and stature. Massive wingspan, massive guy, 6'5", 272 as it says right here. This is a prototypical Dennis Allen defensive end. He's going to be a run stopper first and foremost, but he offers you that pass rush upside, which if he puts it all together, that'd be a scary sight. That could be like a Danielle Hunter ceiling comp for him, which would be awesome if he was able to fulfill that. And this just makes a lot of sense team fit-wise to the Bears. Just a prototypical Dennis Allen defensive end. I think he's a first-round talent. Yes, his brother is DJU, which does knock him some points on my board. But maybe if DJU was a defensive end like Mateo, he would have also worked out in the NFL, but he decided to be a quarterback. Mateo, his younger brother, very good football player. Is part of that really good defensive line at Oregon with Amari Washington this upcoming year. I'm a big fan of his game. I think he's definitely projects to be a top 30, top 40, top 50 pick in next year's draft, if not first round, early second round. Makes a lot of sense here to the Bears at 17 with their defensive scheme. Moving on to the Jags here at 18. I'm going to go with guard/tackle Caden Green from Mizzou. Caden Green, 5-star coming out of high school, went to Oklahoma, transferred to Mizzou, was originally a left guard, moved to left tackle last year, took off, man. He was a really, really good player. Good size, 6'5", 324. I thought he was going to come out this past year, decides to go back to school, and looking at the Jags depth chart, they could definitely use some help on that offensive line. He's definitely walks in day one as one of their best 5. You can play him at guard or tackle. You just find a spot for him, play him. Day one upgrade, protect Trevor Lawrence. I think the Jags are definitely looking to do that on their offensive line. I think it's definitely could use some work in progress there. I'm a big fan of Caden Green's game, and I think he's an absolute mauler in the run game with good pass protection skills, good movement skills for a guy that size. I think this makes a lot of sense, too, for the Jags. He's very versatile. He works well in space. He's able to identify blitzing linebackers, identify stunts at the line of scrimmage. I think he was Mizzou's best offensive lineman this year for a team that had a very, very good running back who rushed for 1,600 yards and 16 touchdowns. I think Caden Green this time next year will definitely be a first-round pick. I have him here 18 to the Jags. Moving on to 19 to the Houston Texans. This, for me, is going to be Kwan Lacey. I'm a big fan of Kwan Lacey's game. And when I was trying to mock this for the Texans, they don't really have any holes. They are a complete football team. Their defense is very, very good. Their offensive line just got better. They drafted Keelan Rutledge in the first round this year to play center for them. They signed Wyatt Teller out of free agency for them. I like the Marlon Klein pick in the third round, the tight end out of Michigan. I think he's going to pair well with Dalton Schultz. You have the two second-year guys this year at receiver with Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins to pair with Nico Collins. You have Tank Dell coming back from injury. There's not many flaws in this football team, except they could use a running back. They brought in David Montgomery through trade to be their running back this year. I think that David Montgomery is a one-year rental running back, and they will definitely look to upgrade him in the 2027 draft class. I have Kwan Lacey going to them. I think Kwan Lacey is a good running back with good size, 5'10", 211, 3-down back size. I think he has good top-end speed. He has good contact balance to break tackles, a low center of gravity. I'm a fan of his game. I'm curious to see how he plays this year, not in the Lane Kiffin, Charlie Weiss Jr. offensive system because they went and left for LSU. He decided to stay back with Trinidad Chambliss at Ole Miss. I'm excited to see how that plays out this year. I'm a fan of Kwan Lacey's game, though, and I think in a running back class this deep, he is one of the best ones. It's him, Ahmad Hart. I like Mark Fletcher. I like Nate Frazier. I think Jaden Ball out of Florida deserves to be in this database. I don't know why he isn't. I think he could definitely be a first-round pick as well if he has a good year at Florida this year. So, yeah, Kwan Lacey, 19 to the Texans, which leads me into the Broncos at 20. This is where I'm going to go with maybe my favorite player in this draft, just pure off athleticism, mismatch, Trey'Dez Green. Trey'Dez Green is a freak of nature, man. Basketball and football player for LSU. 6'7", 240. Guy's a freak athlete, dude. I think he has good route running for a guy of that size. He is just an absolute mismatch nightmare, red zone nightmare. Sean Payton's going to love getting this guy in his offensive system. Yes, they drafted Justin Jolly in the 4th, 5th round, but that doesn't stop you from drafting Trey'Dez Green. Evan Ingram is old and not that good anymore. You re-signed Adam Troutman. He's a main blocking first tight end. I think Trey'Dez Green is that joker role they are looking for in that Denver offense, and I think Sean Payton would definitely love to get him on the team. Another team just like the Texans, they don't have very many holes. So I think they go with a weapon, just like the Texans went with a weapon in running back. I think the Broncos go with a weapon here for Bo Nix. Keep that offense dynamic, man. I think Trey'Dez Green is a surefire first-round talent next year. I don't know if he officially declares, but I think he is an absolute stud, and he's my early tight end one. Him and Jamari Johnson are close for me. I really like Jamari Johnson's game. He's more of an inline, bigger guy, where Trey'Dez Green is more of a mismatch nightmare on the outside, where you're going to take advantage of defenses. I think Sean Payton wants that mismatch guy for the red area. Moving on to the Bengals at 21. This is where I am going to go with my number one safety on the board. My number one safety in the class early is going to be KJ Bolden, man. KJ Bolden's just a hell of a football player, man. 6 foot, 195. I like that comparison to Javon Bullard. Nickel versatility, high football IQ. That's what you're getting out of KJ Bolden, man. Sure tackler. Very rangy player, can play in coverage, can play down in the box. Really just wherever you need KJ Bolden, he can be that player for you. That's what he does for Georgia. He is versatile. Kirby Smart uses him. Glenn Schumann, the defensive coordinator, uses him as like a chess piece in that defense. Play wherever the action is, man. Wherever you need him. And I think the Bengals desperately need that type of player in their secondary. I like that they got Dexter Lawrence. We'll see if it ends up working out. If Dexter Lawrence can return to that play from 2 years ago, I think that will end up being a good trade for the Bengals. But if he doesn't, it might be a little shaky. I think Al Golden, the defensive coordinator in Cincinnati, would love to get a player like KJ Bolden in that secondary to help soften the blow of what that defense has been going through the past couple of years. Get Joe Burrow in that offense some help on the defensive side. KJ Bolden it is to the Bengals at 21. Moving on to the Patriots at 22. This is where I have my linebacker one in the class going. That is going to be Kingston Viliamuasa. I'm a big fan of Kingston Viliamuasa's game, KVA for short. He is just one of those hybrid linebacker edge type guys that's just nasty, violent in the run game. 94 PFF grade last year. He has good size, 6'3", 230. Play Mike, Will, or Sam for you. Can be a situational pass rusher. I think he has good hands in the pass rush department. Very violent downhill. Good run defender. I think he was the best linebacker in college football last year. Tore his ACL against Boston College later in the year. Should be back fully healthy this year. I think as long as he comes back from that injury like he was last year, he will be a first-round pick, early second-round pick at the latest. He's good in coverage for a guy who that's not his strong suit either. But yeah, I mean, 23 pressures, 4 sacks. He's a awesome football player, a versatile chess piece in that linebacker room for Mike Vrabel to use. You have Christian Ellis, who's got 1 year left on his deal this upcoming year, so let him walk out the building. You draft Kingston Viliamuasa. You have an instant upgrade, in my opinion. You get younger. I think this is a no-brainer pick for the Patriots here at 22. Moving on to the Eagles at 23. I'm going to go with, I think the best player left on my board is going to be Jordan Seaton, and that would be a very Howie Roseman and Eagles-esque pick. Just let the best player in the draft fall, or best player available fall to them in the draft. Jordan Seaton is going to be their Lane Johnson replacement of the future. He is a very good pass protector. Started as a true freshman at Colorado. Just transferred to LSU this year. Is going to fit in nicely in that Lane Kiffin system. His run blocking was subpar, that's for sure, but he is a really good pass blocker. The athleticism and the movement skills are very good for a guy of his size. I think he projects well to the next level, and I think this very Howie Roseman-esque pick. Just take the best player on the board, best player available. That would be Jordan Seaton. Moving on to the Chargers at 24. This is where I go with Ahmad Moten Sr., my third defensive tackle off the board. You want to talk about twitched up, athletic, good explosive interior pass rusher? That is Ahmad Moten Sr. I thought Ahmad Moten was going to declare for the 2026 draft. Decides to go back to Miami, play one more year in college. That's fine. Comes in at 6'3", 300. He had 10 multiple pressure games this past year. He's going to fit in very nicely in a defensive line unit. I think the Chargers make a lot of sense. You keep him with his teammate, Akeem Mesidor, who they just drafted in the first round this year. They need interior defensive line help as well. I think this makes a lot of sense here for the Chargers at 24. Moving on to the Cowboys at 25. This is where I went with Charlie Becker, the receiver out of Indiana. I think Charlie Becker is a very good football player. Came out of nowhere, really, man. Was a 3-star prospect. Coach Sig got his hands on him and turned him into a stud. Good size, 6'4", 210. Arguably Indiana's best receiver last year in a room with Omar Cooper and Elijah Surratt. First-round pick and a third-round pick in the NFL draft. I think Charlie Becker definitely could be a first-round pick next year. And with the Cowboys not knowing what's happening with George Pickens, is he going to sign the franchise tag? Is he going to stay a Cowboy? Is he going to sign a long-term deal? I think receiver makes a lot of sense for them 1 year out, because outside of Pickens and Lamb in that receiver room, it is bad. They have Ryan Flournoy as your next option, and if Pickens leaves, you're going to need somebody else in that receiver room for Dak. I think Charlie Becker makes a lot of sense here for the Cowboys at 25. Moving on to the Chiefs at 26. This is where I'm going to go with the guy I mentioned earlier, Jamari Johnson. I think Jamari Johnson and Trey'Dez Green are like neck and neck for top tight end in this draft class. Jamari Johnson's a very good football player, man. Better size, 6'5", 260 almost. Very inline tight end, prototypical. He's going to be a day one starter for the Chiefs. Travis Kelce's got really 1 year left playing football. Noah Gray's backup tight end. Nothing inspiring about Noah Gray at all. I like Jamari Johnson a lot, though. I think he offers you good blocking from day one with plus receiver skills. He's a good athlete. A guy you just want to get the ball in his hands and let him go a little bit. And I think Mahomes and Andy Reid are the perfect duo to do that for. I think he fits in nicely in that offense. And I think this makes a lot of sense here for the Chiefs at 26. Now moving on to the Niners at 27. I'm going to go with Carter Smith. I think he will end up being a first or second round pick next year. Started a lot of football games at Indiana, man. 2023 to 2026. I think he has started over 40 games for them. 6'5", 313, prototypical size, veteran offensive lineman. Knows how to play the position, dude. He's got good movement skills for that size. I think this is your eventual Trent Williams replacement. Trent Williams probably has 1, maybe 2 more years left. You got Colton McKivitz on the right side. I think Carter Smith could start over McKivitz day one, or you could keep him under Trent Williams, let him learn. I like Carter Smith. I think this makes a lot of sense for the Niners, who need to upgrade their O-line and get O-line help. Moving on to the Lions at 28. This is where I'm going to go with Ashton Hampton, the cornerback out of Clemson. I like Ashton Hampton. I think he offers you good size at 6'2", 200. He has good movement skills, route mirroring for a guy of that size and that length. Just missed 3 tackles on 40 attempts last year. I think he's very willingness as a tackler to come up and make plays, which Dan Campbell's going to love on that defensive side. I like the Lions draft this past year, getting Derek Moore in the second round, Blake Miller in the first round. Keep going in that Clemson pipeline where you got Blake Miller from, and I think Ashton Hampton makes a lot of sense. Add to that cornerback room. I like the Lions safety group, Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph, if they can stay healthy. You got Terrion Arnold as well in the corner room. I think Ashton Hampton would help boost that corner room up in a division where you have Luther Burden, Rome Odunze, Justin Jefferson, like a lot of good offensive in the NFC North. I think this makes a lot of sense for the Lions at 28. Moving on to the Seahawks at 29. This is where I went with my interior offensive line 1 in the class. This is going to be Cade Piper out of Iowa. One thing I need to know about Cade Piper, hay bale toss champion. This is a country farm boy from Iowa, plays under Kirk Ferentz in Iowa. One of those guys again. Kirk Ferentz does it all the time, man. Iowa is a tight end and offensive line factory for the NFL. Cade Piper's next up in that class. 6'4", 290. He's got good run blocking skills, good athleticism for the position. He's got guard center flexibility. He's probably going to slide over to center now that Logan Jones is gone for the Bears in the second round. I like Cade Piper's game a lot. I think he fits in well in Seattle. He can play a right guard for Anthony Bradford. I know Seahawks fans don't really like him. He can play at center for Jalen Sundell. I think he's an automatic upgrade on that interior offensive line. You got Grace Zabel last year, who stepped in right away and played very good at left guard for their Super Bowl run. I think you keep dipping and keep adding resources into that offensive line. Next up, the Bills at 30. I am going with Ryan Williams. I think Ryan Williams is a first-round talent player. Definitely 2 years ago, he was a no doubt. And then after last year, he did not have a good year. He had a lot of drought problems. He doesn't have strong play strength at all. I think he's shorter than 6 foot, 178. Definitely on the lighter side. But what's undeniable about Ryan Williams is his change of direction, his athleticism, his route running. He's a very rare athlete at the receiver position. Get the ball in his hands, let him go to work, let him craft on the route tree. I like Ryan Williams. I think the Bills are looking to add more weapons to that offense, which is why they went out and got DJ Moore this past year. I like DJ Moore. I don't really like Keon Coleman all that much. I think Skylar Bell's a depth piece at receiver in the 4th round. I like Khalil Shakir. I think you keep giving Josh Allen weapons. I like what Brandon Beane did in the draft in 2026. I like TJ Parker in the 2nd round. I thought he was a fringe first guy. I thought the Bears might have got him in the 1st round at 25. I like Davison Igbinosun at corner as well. I think they address defense in 2026. I think they address offense in the 2027 draft. And then moving on to the Ravens at 31. This is where I'm going to go with Anthony Knapp, the tackle guard out of Notre Dame. I say tackle guard because he has that flexibility. He started as a true freshman at Notre Dame at left tackle on that national championship team that lost to Ohio State. Played left tackle again last year, was very, very good. He's going to slip inside to guard because Notre Dame has a redshirt freshman, Will Black, coming in to play left tackle. And Knapp projects more as a guard to the NFL level. He's got good movement skills for a guy that size, 6'5", 300. He's got good athleticism that you need. He's a very smart football player. I'm a fan of his game at Notre Dame. I think the Ravens could definitely use an upgrade on that offensive line, even though they drafted Vega Ioane at 14. I think left guard and center are still a position in need where you can upgrade. Ronnie Stanley is only getting older at left tackle. I think it's smart to invest in the trenches if you're the Ravens. Protect Lamar Jackson. He's not going to be around forever. He's getting up there. I think Anthony Knapp is a first-round talent football player, and the Ravens get him here at 31. Now to the Rams at 32. This is going to be Damon Wilson II for me, just off the fact that the Rams don't have any needs, man. They have a really, really good football team, and you saw it this past year, the 2026 draft. They felt the need to take Ty Simpson at 13 because they felt their roster was already that good. I agree with them. I don't think they go quarterback in this one, but I think they add to that pass rush because, NFL teams, they never can have enough pass rushers. They want waves of pass rush to go after the quarterback, just like what the Seattle Seahawks did this year. They have waves of pass rushers. I like Damon Wilson's game. Was originally at Georgia, went to Mizzou last year, had a good year, is now transferred to Miami because Miami lost Mesidor and Bain. He's going to try and replicate what those guys did, both first-round picks. I think he has good bend, good speed rush off the edge. Not the best run defender, but he is a good pass rusher off the edge, and I think the Rams scoop him up here at 32. There we have it for you guys. That is my way too early 2027 mock draft. Thank you guys for tuning in. This was fun. I'll be back with some more videos soon. Take it easy.